So, in order to give this a little bit of context, I want to ask a really quick question, or better yet, I want to give a scenario. I want to see how well you can relate. Many of you, I'm well aware, have worked corporate jobs, retail jobs, jobs in regular standard corporate or retail or sales environments. They give you these safety trainings, right? And these safety trainings are like trying to give you a system or a set of procedures to function if an emergency takes place. Can be a violent attack, could be a fire in a building, it could be any given set of circumstances where yourself and the large scale operation around you is at risk on some level. They give you these dumbass safety trainings and they try to get you to build a process of procedures in your mind to follow in case of emergency or utter chaos. This is going to be completely devoid from reality because in the real world, when those same emergencies actually take place, you're gonna go to your human instincts to survive. You're gonna run, hide, fight, kick over the old lady in the wheelchair, knock over the paraplegic. You're gonna do whatever the hell you got to do to survive. If somebody comes in at your office shooting, if a fire breaks out at your workplace that seems like it's out of control, if anything that you deem as a true threat to your life comes to play, all of the procedures and those dumbass training videos are likely going to go out of the window. I want you to stop and think about the financial system, the wealth transfer. I want you to think about the US government collapsing on its debt. I want you to think about it inflating away the value of the US dollar. I want you to think of that as the emergencies or the peril that you may be facing. And I want you to think of your natural instincts in the same way you would think about where you would want your money to go if the US defaulted on its debt. If the US dollar got inflated out of existence or stopped becoming the world's reserve currency. If calamity struck, gold, silver are prime examples of that natural fight or flight response that's going to throw all procedure out of the window and go back to what it knows. That is the simplest way that I can get you to understand why banks, why the federal government, power brokers, Wall Street is not very interested in you holding gold or silver as an investment vehicle, not because it's a long haul investment vehicle that's going to be brilliant forever, but because in times of a lack of confidence in the system, in times of a lack of confidence in the currency, in times where debt is out of control, in times where the government's not working like it's supposed to, and things are seeming chaotic or like, out of control, this is when money starts to look for a safe place to park itself. Probably last statistics I saw were less than or just over 1% of the Western world population holds gold or silver. And I want to put some perspective on that. Less than 1% that I've most recently seen, maybe around 1% own gold or silver. That having been said, I see some of y'all coming into the live stream. Leave a like. Let me know you're in the building. PNR connected, my guy. What's going on? Are we doing this or what? It's not going to stay up for long. So I want y'all to leave a like. Let me know you're in the building. So I want you guys to stop and think about this for a second. Whenever there's a lack of confidence in your currency, whenever debt is out of control, whenever the financial system seems like it's out of control, whenever your government seems like it's riding off the rails, stop and think for a second. Where would you want your money to be? Where would your money be parked that doesn't have the influence of banks? If banks start collapsing left and right, the government, if it starts to shut down or not function properly, or it's shut down at the time of this live stream for 30 plus days, but if it actually went haywire and shut down in an uncivilized manner, if the US dollar was to collapse or to stop being the world's reserve currency, if anything major were to come and shake up the stability, the procedural function of the system around us and make you question the system, where would you want your money to be parked? Somebody said gold and silver are trash down there. I want you to hang on for a second in here before we get off, because I want to talk about that for a second. Because gold. So that's the nuts and bolts of the backdrop to why gold and silver. Gold is up over 4,000 an ounce right now. Silver is up in a very high place, contradicted to where it's been in recent years. Just probably not even 2 years ago, I believe you could have got gold at barely 2,000 an ounce. Now, I want to be abundantly clear. I'm not sitting up here telling you that, gold is the ultimate investment. Silver is the ultimate investment. I see somebody down there saying gold and silver are garbage. I'm trying to figure out, really curious what it is you own or hold and how much money you have invested outside in some other smart asset. I would love to know. but because there's so many geniuses out here running around downing different things that they a lot of times don't know a lot about. So please feel free to let me know what it is that you're investing in that's so much more sophisticated. So the narrative for gold and silver is simple. Money needs somewhere proven and instinctual to store itself. And I want to prove to you that gold and silver are valuable assets in the right timing, in the right circumstances. The world's most powerful financial entities, like central banks, are stacking up on gold and silver right now. JP Morgan Chase is holding a ton of silver and has been buying a lot of silver. Governments like China, India, all of these other countries have been buying gold and silver like crazy. Like crazy. Do your research on it. Large governments, central banks, all of the power brokers that are aware that the financial system will not continue to function as it's been functioning all this time so far, are well aware that currencies, paper currencies, are of little value. They're of little value, and the confidence in them, all of the debts all of the debt surrounding their existence is not going to hold up forever. And everyday people like us are not going to continue to watch the system overinflate itself, borrow itself out of existence, and then continue to have faith in it like it's the same $20 or the same $100 in our pockets and our wallets, when in essence it's a fraction of what it was just a few years ago. The Federal Reserve keeps playing around with interest rates. That's another factor at play, right? So you have, y'all got to excuse me, I got like mosquitoes coming in here. So you have a scenario where another form of manipulation to our money is at play. The Federal Reserve playing around with interest rates. Not a hard concept. NVIDIA is the best. Whenever AI goes public next year, invest heavily in that. Yes, I think NVIDIA and AI is going to be a great place. I do think crypto has a great place, but that's not for this particular live stream. So I agree with you. Gold went up about $800 in the last 60 days. Thank you, PNR Connected. Somebody's paying attention in the audience. Somebody's paying attention in the audience. I'm not telling you it's the best investment in the world. I'm going to cover a separate video as to why gold and silver are only circumstantial, but it doesn't matter. All you need is a decent rush of the financial markets to say, I need somewhere stable to be. Some of the biggest hedge funds leaders, some of the biggest market leaders are coming out publicly saying that the whole 60-40 split on stocks and bonds no longer works. 20 to 25% of your portfolio needs to be in gold. The Ray Dalios of the world and some of these other big buying kings and stock market kings are coming out telling you that they themselves no longer feel comfortable in arenas that they've been playing in for decades. They're publicly coming out saying smart money is starting to go into gold. And I'm saying silver by proxy because there's a connection between the two, and silver has been artificially suppressed at a totally different level than gold. That's a different conversation. But the price of silver is nowhere near what it should be just from how it's mined out of the ground to gold. It's not even close. So what I'm simply coming on this live stream saying, and I'm not staying on this live stream very long, it's a safe haven place to be. And that means if the world's financial system shifts out of dollars and cents, which it likely will at some point, it's not going to be a seamless transition. All of that value needs to go somewhere. Does that make sense? People still have to trade things of value. And if the way you've been trading it no longer exists or doesn't function properly, then you need something that will trade effectively. Does that make sense? So that means I need to go somewhere that anywhere in the world, it can be recognized and respected. The only thing at the moment doing that is accessible, that isn't expensive as hell, that isn't complicated as hell to purchase, is gold and silver. Is gold and silver. You can invest in gold and silver physically. I've been taking my daughter to the precious metal store since she was 7, 8 years old. It's been nearly 8, 10 years since I've literally been bringing my daughter with me to buy precious metals physically. You can invest in what they call pure play stocks, meaning stocks in companies that mine this stuff out of the ground. You can invest in ETFs. You can invest a lot of different ways. Honestly, the most effective ways is to physically hold it or have it stored somewhere or get into what's called pure play stocks at the end of the day. And I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm just telling you, as you make your own considerations, these are things you need to think about. But gold and silver, the rest of the world will still need to barter and trade of value. And when currencies can no longer be trusted because governments and banks have ruined them, as they're doing right before our eyes, your money and my money still needs to go somewhere and function. So everything of value is going to shift. It's gonna go back, like the analogy I gave at the very beginning of the live stream. It's gonna go back to brass tacks. When the person kicks in the door with the AK-47 at my office, I'm not gonna lock your station, lock your computer, put your files up, get on the floor, tap the ground 3 times. Fuck that, my guy. Fuck what you talking about? I'm getting out of here. If I got the option to get out of here, I'm getting out of here. If I can run, I'm gonna run. Whatever I need to do to survive, I'm about to do to survive. That's gold and silver. When the financial system and the government's helping to run them and tax them and borrow against them are going out of control. Whenever the fire breaks out at the factory plant or the chemical leak happens at the factory plant, I'm not about to sit around and roll around on the ground and pat my uniform and lock the drawer and close this certain door and lock the files and protect the product. The hell with that. The hell with that. Yo, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. The name of the game is going to be simple. Where can I park my money in an emergency that is easily accessible, that's easy to understand, that is going to be easy to transact in? Like crypto and Bitcoin, there's a whole conversation to be had around that. It's not the same thing. Gold and silver are circumstantial, but they are much simpler for the average person. For even the average upper scale investor, these other things still have time to develop. Gold and silver goes back thousands of years. It's not rocket science. It goes back a really long time. It is instinctual for us. So whenever you like, damn, my dollar literally means absolutely nothing. It's not working the same. The government cannot pay this debt back. Like the list goes on for reasons why you're gonna sit there and say, this system no longer makes sense. I no longer trust this. Where can I start putting some of my money to capture value, to capture real value and still transact in the financial system anywhere in the world for real value? Gold and silver are going to be one of the top places to be, especially one of the simplest, affordable, and easiest places to be. That's a real viable asset that doesn't have what's called third-party counter risk. What is third-party counter risk? Banks, governments. That's going to be third-party counter risk. These people being able to control the value of it directly. I no longer trust you, so why the hell would I want my money tied up in something that you can mismanage again? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Comment down below if you're watching. If you're on the chat and you're on the live stream, let me know down below. If you're watching a replay, let me know down below. Does that make sense to you? You're going to want your money to go somewhere that is not controlled by the same people who have already ruined the money in the first place. It's simple. It's simple. So that is the base case why gold is back, why banks, governments are not interested in you knowing or considering gold and silver as investments, and why the same people who are hiding it from you and keeping it under the rug and talking trash about it whenever it comes up are buying the shit out of it. They're buying the shit out of it. Central banks, governments, big multinational banks, the people that have real money, smart money, hedge funds, they're sitting on it. They're buying it. They're investing in it. So for those of you who think it's trash, and I understand the crypto and AI hype is like got your senses and your hormones all roused up. I understand that. I get it. I've been in financial services. I've been in banking. I understand economics. I get it. I understand. We're going to talk about that in a whole other video. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and think something that's been time tested and proven outside of the poor behavior, poor conduct, lack of trust of man. For those of you who have any biblical, for those of you who have any deeper sense of humanity, we are flawed creatures, and some things in nature are when man can no longer be trusted and what we control can no longer be trusted, the rest of man decides to go outside of man's tools and resources. The banking system, the stock market, or even some variation of real estate to an extent, these are things that man has third-party counter risk attachment to. The government and banks have deep control on still. When things go chaotic, you're going to go back to the regular nervous system, panic, where the hell do I go? You're going to go back to something that has been put on this planet with value built in that man didn't need to add value to. You're going to go back to something that has little to no third-party risk, that can be bartered anywhere in the world, and you can drop it. Doesn't matter if you don't speak the language. It don't mean a damn. None of that matters. The only thing that's going to matter is that you're presenting something that anybody around the world knows has some kind of value. You can't do that with damn near any paper currency. And in the future, at some point in time, that time frame is going to come where the financial system will no longer be recognizable. Gold and silver will have its window of time where it is one of the best places to be. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Comment down below and let me know your position on gold and silver. Respectfully, I'm open to opinions and different perspectives, but I'm telling you what I know on this live stream. Comment down below and let me know your perspective, your truth. I'm running out of a light here on this one, as y'all can see, but that's all good. The message is coming through clear as day anyway. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Go back to the replay of the video, leave a like, leave your support on the replay of the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, so we can help get this message out to other people. Support the channel so the channel can continue to support you and others. So all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.